Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show today. My name is Spencer Walsh. You are listening to Newsflash. On today's show, Deutsche Bank says they saw suspicious activity in Donald Trump and Jared Kushner accounts. Missouri passed another pretty awful abortion law. Not good, folks, not good. Officials have identified 1,712 more children that may have been separated at the border. This story just keeps getting worse. Another thing getting worse is our planet. 84 degrees this past weekend as the Arctic Ocean, as carbon dioxide levels have hit their highest in human history. Other options for Democratic candidates, talking about the Democrats, talking about the media, and talking about another great progressive populist candidate. So we are looking at that. We're going to get a little bit more into that. Powered by the People. It is some pretty interesting stuff. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about that story. But first, we start with Deutsche Bank. As anti-money laundering specialists at the Deutsche Bank recommended in 2016 and 2017 that multiple transactions involving legal entities controlled by Donald J. Trump and his son-in-law Jared Kushner be reported to a financial crimes watchdog. So, that's not good. That's not good. They're getting their bank accounts now reported to a financial crimes watchdog. Their transactions, some of which involved Trump's now defunct foundation, set off alerts in a computer system designed to detect illicit activity, according to 5 current and former bank employees. This could be a thing where nothing comes out of this, or it could be a very big deal. So far, nothing really has come out of any major story yet, because it just feels like nothing really matters anymore. But, there are definitely some very interesting, very important investigations going on in this. The Southern District, New York, all that. That is definitely going to be something worth watching, and a pretty big piece of news here. So apparently, their computer system inside the Deutsche Bank flagged Trump for possibly doing financial crimes. Compliance staff members who then reviewed the transactions prepared so-called suspicious activity reports that they believe should be sent to a unit of the Treasury Department that polices financial crimes. So, this all happened. So executives at Deutsche Bank, which has lent billions of dollars to Trump and Kushner companies, rejected the employees' advice, and their reports were never filed with the government. Because, honestly, probably not the most surprising thing. Sure, it is kind of a selfish and corrupt move to do by the bank, but the thing is, they should be punished for not alerting the government, but the thing is, it's not the craziest decision, given that they had, for some odd reason, and this is, again, some of the kind of the remaining mystery, that, all this stuff, it's definitely some suspicious stuff. We've seen this happen over and over, and they continue to lend money to Deutsche. Trump continues to get money lent to him from Deutsche Bank, even though he's failed to pay it back so many different times. Everyone knows his record of business failure. And still, again, he gets millions of dollars of money lent to him. The Deutsche Bank has a huge investment in working with him and his family members like Jared Kushner. So when they see something like this, they're probably not going to flag it off, because, who knows what could have happened here? Who knows what could have happened? It's very, very strange. So, real estate developers like Trump and Kushner sometimes do large all-cash deals, including people with people outside the United States, any of which can prompt some money laundering reviews. But the red flags raised by employees do not necessarily mean the transactions were improper. Banks sometimes opt not to file suspicious activity reports if they conclude that their employees' concerns are unwarranted, but former Deutsche Bank employees said the decision not to report the Trump and Kushner transaction reflected the bank's generally lax approach to money laundering laws, which, again, this is as much a statement on the Trump and Kushner potentially doing something pretty suspicious as it is against, the banks in particular, because, remember, they did not report this here, and the fact that they didn't report it, again, it shows that it shows where the focus is really and with profit, with big businesses, they don't really care about you. They care about just making money, making profit. And the way they're not going to do it, the way they're going to do it is through these big business ventures with these rich and very powerful people like Trump and Kushner. So, I guess you could say they really do have to protect them to protect themselves here. That's the reality of the situation there. But you present them with everything. You give them a recommendation and nothing happens, says Tammy McFadden, a former Deutsche Bank and anti-money laundering specialist who reviewed some of their transactions. It's the DB way. They are prone to discounting everything, she says. Carrie McHugh, a Deutsche Bank spokeswoman, it's interesting here that they're giving their names, or Tammy McFadden is anyway. Terry McHugh is a spokesperson. So So she said the company had intensified its efforts to combat financial crime. An effective money laundering program, she said, requires sophisticated transaction screening technology, as well as a trained group of individuals who analyze the alerts that are generated by the technology both thoroughly and efficiently. At no time was an investigator prevented from escalating activity identified as potentially suspicious. Furthermore, she suggested the suggestion that anyone who was reassigned or fired in an effort to quash concerns relating to any client is categorically false. Amanda Miller, a spokeswoman for the Trump Organization, the umbrella company for the Trump family's many business interests, said that we have no knowledge of any flagged transactions with the Deutsche Bank. She said that Trump Organization currently has no operating accounts with Deutsche Bank. She had no response when asked if other Trump entities had accounts. So Karen Zabarsky, a spokeswoman for Kushner Companies, said any allegations regarding Deutsche Bank's relationship with Kushner Companies, which involve money laundering, is completely made up and totally false. The New York Times continues to create dots that just don't connect. So yeah, those are some of the statements here. And a very interesting, Carrie McHugh, I mean, she probably would deny it, but there is no denial here in this article done by the New York Times that says very specifically, okay, no, we did not have any problems with Kushner or Trump. And I mean, maybe they can comment on it, but I think that's on its own is quite telling. Deutsche Bank's decision not to report the transactions is the latest twist in Trump's long, complicated relationship with the German bank, the only mainstream financial institution consistently willing to do business with the real estate developer, despite, again, as I mentioned before, his horrible history of paying back loans and things like that. So congressional and state authorities are investigating the relationship and have demanded the bank records related to the president, his family, and other companies. Subpoenas from the two House committees seek, among other things, documents related to any suspicious activities detected in Trump's personal and business bank accounts in 2010, according to a copy of a subpoena in a federal court filing. So yeah, this is all very interesting stuff. Trump and Jared Kushner both had flagged transactions on their accounts that were reported by like computer software in the lower ups in Deutsche Bank, but were then stopped by the higher ups. So yeah, I don't even know if the lower up is a thing, but yeah, you get the idea here of what was going on. So yeah, very sketchy stuff. All right, we now turn to Missouri, where the House there, Missouri House, has passed a bill banning abortion after 8 weeks of pregnancy before many women even know they're pregnant. This is, again, another one of the very constrictive abortion laws now making their way in droves through the country now that there is officially a cemented conservative Supreme Court. Many on the religious right and right in general are going to become very, very focused in the future about getting rid of Roe v. Wade. It's something that's going to happen, and if you care about abortion, you got to be ready for it. And that is very, very disturbing stuff. So yeah, the state Senate passed the same bill yesterday, and Governor Mike Parson is expected to sign it. Most provisions would not take effect until August, according to Rewire. The bill is only marginally less evil than the Alabama law, and similar to a bill passed in Georgia earlier this month. It includes no exceptions for rape or incest, and only medical emergencies that threaten the life and health of the mother, and would punish doctors who... those are the only things that are accepted. It would punish doctors who perform abortions after 8 weeks with up to 15 years in prison. Most frighteningly of all, the bill contains a section that would immediately outlaw abortion entirely, except for medical emergencies in the state if Roe v. Wade is overturned via the courts, a constitutional amendment, or federal law. So yeah, the abortion thing continues to like this is what they're doing. They're expecting here what turn out to be a lot of legal challenges. And they know that Neil Gorsuch, and I mean, if you think for 1 second that Brett Kavanaugh would be appointed, if you think that 1 second that they would put Brett Kavanaugh out there without a full, literally written in blood on a piece of old parchment, injected, Brett Kavanaugh probably to get on the Supreme Court, signed a document probably with his own blood that said, I will overturn Roe v. Wade if I get the chance. That's what they put him in there. This is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, conservative legal ask ever. There is no way he would be put on the Supreme Court of the United States if he would fail to overturn this. This would be insane if he failed to overturn this. And I think Neil Gorsuch the same way. especially anyone that Trump would appoint, especially anyone that was, as we all like to say, grown in the lab at the bottom of the Federalist Society to be put in this situation. There was no way that one of the things they put in that serum that made people like Brett Kavanaugh, that made people like Neil Gorsuch, is you will overturn Roe v. Wade at all costs. And this is what's going to happen. There's going to be a bunch of bills. Hopefully Democrats, Planned Parenthood, ACLU, it's only really aggressive faction on the Democratic side anymore, the activist faction. The leader's not really doing anything much at this point on this issue, especially. And on other issues as well, the leadership seems to be kind of quiet, very disturbingly so. Hopefully the activists, ACLU, Planned Parenthood, they pick something that is going to be more likely to convince the judges in the courts. Like maybe they can get one or possibly a lot of public pressure. Who knows? John Roberts, I don't know. But the thing is, they are all there. They are all there. And by the way, Ruth Ginsburg could die at any second as well. Like, it's a stiff breeze could just knock her over. We're in a very dangerous situation right now for abortion rights. And, some people say they want to chip away at it piece by piece. They could be a possibility as well. But either way, this is a story we have to keep watching it. Every little development, in my opinion, needs to be covered, and we're covering them here for you at Newsflash. So during a debate in the bill in the House, lawmaker Barry Hovis, whose name is far too British to be allowed in Missouri, baffled onlookers when he argued that a majority of rapes in the United States are actually consensual. Wow. That's the sound there of my mind exploding. A majority of rapes, folks, they're actually consensual. In the words of a lawmaker in the House of Missouri, Barry Hovis, rapes are consensual. Majority of them in the U.S. Here he says, quote, let's say that just someone goes out and they're raped. Let's just say that someone goes out and they have their raped or they're sexually assaulted one night at a college party. He began. Oh, those college kids always get raped. Because most of my rapes, she's talking about Canada as a law enforcement officer, were not the gentleman jumping out of the bushes that nobody ever met. That was one of 2 times out of 100. Most of them were date rapes, consensual rapes, which are all terrible. I'm pretty sure that by definition, the definition of rape is that it's not consensual. Still, whether you're jumping out of the bushes at someone, which obviously does not happen as much as date rapes and things like that, he says they're both terrible, but what? He must have been a pretty dumb law enforcement officer, granted a lot are, to think that, this was consensual rape. It's literally the definition. Am I going crazy here? Literally the definition of rape is unconsensual sex. What? Yeah. So he later apologized, claiming that he was referring to the police trying to determine whether he alleged instances of sexual assaults were consensual or rape. That would make more sense, but it's probably something his advisors with 5 brain cells instead of just 1 told him to try and get him out of the situation. So, the abortion law experts at Rewire explained how the bill is designed to test the limits of Roe. The measure makes it a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison to perform abortion at 8 weeks gestation, the point at which the bill claims, with no basis in actual science, a fetus is detectable or is more likely to be a viable pregnancy. If the court rules that unconstitutional, the prohibition would be at 14 weeks. If the court strikes down that as well, it would be 18 weeks. And if it doesn't work, the prohibition will be at 20 weeks. So just going to keep moving it up again and again and again, trying to force as many legal challenges as possible and to eliminate as many legal challenges as possible. I mean, all you need is an amendment that abortion, really what you need. The only thing that will stop the conservative movement is, at this point, an amendment that says pro-choice, the pro-choice position of, that's up to the woman to have a decision up to a certain point. I don't know the number, but at some point, the agreed upon date that is somewhat reasonable, not 6 weeks, you have to decide at some point or another. But again, you should be able to decide. Anyway, the thing is, for many women in vast swaths of the country, the protections that are supposed to be afforded by Roe barely